Nyla and welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome. Today I am going to be putting together a balloon backdrop using balloons from Walmart. Actually, all of the products from Walmart. I have some 12-inch balloons, 9-inch balloons. I have a table cover that I'll be converting into a streamer backdrop along with some streamers that I bought, all for under $30. So let's get to it. The first thing that I like to do is I always like to test the quality of the balloons. Obviously, these were 97 cents for a pack of like 15 balloons, so I'm not expecting the best quality. What I am going to do is try my best with some savvy craftsmanship, try to put together a balloon garland backdrop that will look kind of nice. So let's test our skills out here. Okay, so let me come over there and grab you guys and show you what I got. So I got an assortment of these, which it comes 20 in a pack, and these are the 9-inch, which I'm going to use as the smaller accent pieces. I also got this really pretty purple color. It comes in 12-inch, 15 a pack. The same thing for this magenta hot pink. And also this turquoisey blue. And then I also got this metallic table cover, and it's like a rose gold color that I'm planning on cutting into strips, similar to the size of these streamers. I got the streamers in turquoise, hot pink, and purple. What I'm gonna do now is blow up one of these balloons and decide if I'm gonna try to double stuff them or just leave them the way that they are. So right now I am just gonna use the hand pump because both of my cats are here and they're literally terrified of the air pump, the electronic air pump. So let's just do this by hand and try to slowly, casually work them up to the other one. This is the purple in the 12-inch. I mean, it's pretty see-through. Let me see what it looks like when it's double stuffed. The only reason I'm trying not to double stuff them is because the backdrop kit that I have only goes a minimum of 7 feet wide. I want to make sure that I have the garland going completely across with the amount of balloons that I purchased. Let me see what these look like doubled up. This is the doubled up. It's more opaque. It's still not completely opaque, but at this size, I'm going to test it and see if I can kind of get an idea and measure up how many balloons I'll need to fully go across this 7-foot crossbar. I am going to try and double them up and see if they will go across with just, I think I have 200 balloons here. So I have roughly 200 balloons here. I'm gonna double these up so it makes for a nicer balloon and it's a little bit thicker when I actually install them. And I'll be back because double stuffing takes a little while. Okay, so now that I have all of my balloons double stuffed, I will say with some of these balloons, it's kind of wonky. Like there would be 2 balloons stuck together. More specifically in this purple pack, and some of them did have like holes in it. It looked like there was maybe like some kind of plaster or dust in them, like huge holes like that. So I didn't lose too many balloons, but that's one of the things that you might want to factor in, is to consider just having extras on hand, just in case you might need them if some of the balloons come out a little wonky. I mean, these were 97 cents for a pack. So I'm gonna start creating the garland, and today I'm going to be using the fishing line method, and I'm going to blow up 2 balloons, tie them together, use the fishing line to tie it, and then keep adding on. They're not clusters. Clusters, I believe, are typically a set of 4, but more like duets. So let me grab my fishing line and start blowing up the balloons. I feel bad because my Ed kitty is sleeping right here on the bed, but he'll be okay. And when I do this, I typically, if you can see that, I just tie together the inside necks. It's way less strain on your fingers, and all you need to do is tie the inside necks together. Bad example, but I flip it over, grab the insides, there we go. This is the balloon inflator that I ordered from Amazon. And typically what I do when I'm trying to get one side of the balloon to blow up, like it's a double inflator, so typically you press down. So you see how this other side didn't inflate? Basically I just put my hand over it to block the air. And it inflates much quicker. So, I'm gonna finish blowing up these duets and then I'll be right back. Now that I have all of my balloons blown up for the 12-inch for the base, I'm gonna start working with the fishing line and basically just putting all of these together. So, if I can find in this map. I'm gonna start with 2 balloons. There's less of the blue than any other color, so that's gonna be, I'm gonna use that sparingly. I'm just gonna tie it around the cluster and make a knot. I'm actually gonna double it up a couple times. That should be nice and secure. So next I'm gonna grab one of my little clusters here, my little duets, and press that in. And that's pretty tight. I'm gonna go through and just keep adding more. So I'm actually not loving how this is coming together. I want the clusters to be a little bit tighter, so I'm undoing what I did and I'm just gonna redo it but make it a little bit tighter and a little bit more formed. Let me save my battery and I'll be back. Okay, guys, so don't rush the process, just trust the process. I know that sounds awful. But yeah, I'm gonna start over and make sure that these are much tighter. Only because when you're doing this, you don't want to start off with a sloppy base. You want to make sure that your base is nice and tight and sturdy. That way you know that you have a really good product to build on. So I'm going to bring the two necks together. So, since it's starting to shape up the way that I wanted to, I am going to keep adding these on. If you've never used the fishing line method before, basically what you want to do is you want to try to make kind of like a figure 8. So you take 2 clusters, press them down, bring your fishing line up, wrap it once around the balloon. Wrap it around the other one. And then what I try to do is like kind of grab the neck and I bring it through to the previous set of 2. Give it a little bit of a tug so you make sure that it's nice and tight. So I'm gonna keep adding these on and then I will be right back.
2,000 years later, 6.5 hours later, day 2.
Hey, so I am back. I actually had to take a break from the balloon garland because I had some other stuff that I need to do. So it's actually a couple days later, but that's actually a good thing because the integrity of the balloons have actually held up pretty well. They're still pretty shiny. They're also still pretty solid. So that's also something to consider if you're using these balloons, if you want to do them a little bit further in advance. Yeah, it's been like 2 days. So let me just show you the progress that I've made. This fishing wire just likes to attach to everything and not let go. Talk about clingy. Here's the garland so far. It's getting pretty long, so it's getting a little bit harder to attach the duets. I'm gonna tie it off onto the pole here so I have a little bit more stability, because when you're doing this, you wanna make sure that you press the duets in tighter to create like the clusters, because you wanna see the least amount of fishing line as possible, even though later on we're gonna end up filling those in. However, you still want to have like a nice tight sturdy garland. But also don't apply too much pressure because you don't want the fishing line to start to deteriorate your balloons. Okay. So now that that string is wrapped up a little bit, because it was literally just getting everywhere at one point, it got caught on my cat. So I'm just gonna take a 260 balloon and I'm gonna use that to tie it to this pole just temporarily so I have something secure. Just pressing it down in there to kind of connect the duet to the other, and then wrapping it around. Using the figure 8 style. So I'm gonna keep building this out and I'll be right back. So now I have the base of my balloon garland built. As you can see here, I'm going to kind of loosely attach it to the backdrop pipe just so that I can get an idea of how big it is. I think that when I create the actual background, I want to put that on first and then put the balloon garland on top of it. Now I'm gonna cut my fishing line and I'm going to leave like a nice long bit of string at the end. Actually, what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna tie it off, tie a couple of knots into the garland just to make sure that everything is secure and then the balloon garland doesn't start to get loose. And then I'm gonna leave a nice long bit of string. So let me show you what I am doing. I'm just using this temporarily so I can line up my balloon garland and sort of just attach it to here so I can see where it will fall short at over here on this side. Then I can decide how much length and what I'll need for the actual background going across this way. Okay, so once you get it up there and tied, you kind of have a better idea of what you're working with. So as you can see, it stops kind of like halfway down, a little less than halfway down, but I think I have a plan for that. But yeah, this is basically what it looks like. Right now I'm going to start on the backdrop. I am first starting off with the streamers. I'm going to take the streamers, measure them, use one as a template, and cut all of the rest depending on that first template. And just keep cutting until I get there. This is a process. I'm so short. So I have my template. I'm gonna start cutting and I'll bring you guys closer. So I don't have to keep running back and forth because this is pretty long. I'm just measuring it using the doubled up measurement. So I just take it, fold it over, and then cut it from there. Keep in mind when you're doing this, everything's not gonna line up perfectly when you go to put it up, but that's completely fine. And you wanna cut it longer as opposed to shorter when you're lining these up, because you don't want it to be too short and it doesn't reach all the way to the ground, but if it's a little bit longer, you can always go ahead and cut it afterwards. Okay, so now I've just finished cutting all of my strips here. I purchased this tablecloth cover, just a little bit of like a shine. I'm gonna add these pieces in along with the other pieces of crepe paper, and I'm gonna cut them to size. I'm gonna use my X-Acto knife to cut these to size. So doing it with the X-Acto knife makes like a much cleaner, straighter line. I did notice that I have it doubled up twice. So I think now I'm gonna take them from going folded lengthwise, and I'm gonna double them over this way, open it up. Okay, so I have my 2-inch strips. I'm gonna go ahead now and cut out the rest of them. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take the strips and vary them and basically just tape it. Don't worry about where it's at height-wise right now, because we're gonna take it off of the poles. Put it at whatever height that you're comfortable with when you're putting these up. So yeah, I'm just gonna take these, basically just wrap it around the pole like this. And just kind of let it sit on there. So I'm gonna go through and do a whole bunch of these. So now that I have my first layer done, I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing again with the tape. Take the tape, bring it all the way across, and layer it on again. So eventually what I'll have is 2 layers that I can put directly on top of each other. So I'm actually going to take it and put it above this layer. That way the tape doesn't catch onto the other layer. Okay, so now I have all of my layers done. I ended up with 3 different layers. I'm going to take the balloon garland down, and I'm going to stack the backdrop layers on top of each other and get those positioned in place to where I want them to be, so that I can add the actual balloon garland and start getting everything in place and adding the accents. I'm thinking that I may end up adding more of these little strips to give it a little bit more pizzazz and make it more full, but I'm gonna place it first and see how I like it. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, let me move this up so you can see what I'm doing. Basically what I did up here is I just taped it. I used the same tape that it was already on and taped it to the backdrop pipes. I'm gonna add a little bit more tape to make sure that it's secure, one to the crossbar, and then I am going to add the balloon garland back on and figure out what I'm gonna do over on this left side over here, because I don't want the pipes to show at the bottom. Don't you even think about it. He's ready to eat my backdrop. Guys, try not to judge me with the chair situation. I'm gonna get a step ladder, I promise. Anyway, now I'm gonna go ahead and put my balloon garland back up. I'm really excited to start adding all of the accents, and I'm thinking that I might try to make these into some type of drapery that I can add along the bottom here. Let's see. What I'm going to show you now is not exactly the final product. However, I want to show you what I did with this part over here on the left side, where the balloon garland didn't quite go all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to decide to do something different with that. Instead of having a balloon garland that goes all the way around, I'm going to do a type of asymmetrical look. So yeah, let me show you that now. So basically what I did is I took all these remaining shiny table cover pieces that I sliced up, and right now I just have them tied there, but I just draped it going down, and I'll show you what it looks like overall. I am going to blow up all of the little balloons and add those on, and I'll be right back. I'm putting together these. It's late, I'm tired. Yeah, so I'm putting together these 9-inch balloons. I'm creating clusters with these. So 4 and 4, and then I'm using half of a 260 balloon to tie together the 2 sets of 4. And then I'm just gonna basically wrap those around the balloon garland and kind of shape it out a little bit and really add the accents to it. So I'm gonna bring you closer and I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm doing. Hello, so here you have the final result. I actually finished it last night, but I just went straight to sleep. So yeah, there you have it. This is the final. I would say overall, putting this together, the only thing that I was upset about is that some of the balloons were kind of wonky. Like there were holes in them, they were like stretched weird, I couldn't use them, there were some connected together. So That I wasn't very happy about, but other than that, double stuffing them was a really good move for these balloons. The quality actually worked out really well. They're holding up pretty good. It's probably been like maybe like 4 days or so, going on maybe the 5th day. So these balloons are holding their own, so I would say I can't really complain about that. The streamers are working really well. I really like the way that those turned out, and I would say for under $30, this is definitely a plus. Anyway, I really hope you liked this video. If you did, please make sure to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like me, please make sure to subscribe. I'm going to be releasing videos every Thursday. And yeah, so now I'm going to go and take some pictures, get all cute, take some video. And if you want to see those, you can check me out on Instagram and leave some hearts. Bye.